When a customer returns your product, you don't just lose the sale, you lose the inventory, you lose the return shipping label, you lose the refund administration fee, you lose the infamous returns processing fee, you lose the ad spend that you paid to get that customer to convert in the first place. You also lose any future sales when that one customer leaves a poor 1 star review and everybody else who sees that review has a terrible conversion rate. All this to say that one return is never just one return. So now you're probably asking, Ryan, great, thanks. How do I fix this? Great question. So, what you can do is what's called a returns reduction project. So, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're reducing returns on your product or on your assortment. And this saves on all these cascading fees, especially when it's closer to the beginning of your product launch. Because if you think about how a 1 star review affects something that it's already at 4.8 with thousands of reviews, it doesn't really affect it as much as when it's one of your first 10 reviews. Then it'll start tanking you and it'll drive less and less conversion. So it'll be even worse on everything else. Regardless of whether your item's at a 4.8 or not, you're still going to have to pay for the return shipping label and some of these other items. So either way, a returns reduction project can help you, but I'll break down all like 3 different ways that you can do it in a returns reduction project, and 3 ways in my career that I have seen people save tons of money. All of these are completely, well, they're really cheap. A couple of them are completely free too. We'll start with the first one, which is completely free, and it is also the most common of them. And this is just setting expectations in your PDP and making sure that those expectations are something that the product can actually meet. So, one of the biggest things I see in my career altogether, you could see quiet claims. Quiet claims are one of the biggest reasons people misunderstand products on the PDP. There are a whole bunch of other different ways. If you think about clothing and sizes, there are a whole bunch of like easy to assemble, all these claims you can make. And if the customer doesn't understand what easy means, what quiet means, they're not going to be happy. If you could think about power tools, they're quiet power tools. Power tools that claim to be quiet, but when the customer sees that, they assume I could use it and I'm not going to hear it, or somebody's not going to hear it in the next room. But if you're using a leaf blower, quiet doesn't always mean that it's going to be dead silent. It just means that it's quieter than the competition or quieter than the previous product sold. Customers don't understand that. You need to explain that, because if they don't understand it and they return it, that's your fault. And something as little as one line, one word, quiet, can cause a majority of returns on a product. This next example I'll show you, the confusion didn't happen on the PDP. It happened when the customer got the product and opened the box. This can be a solution based on just adding a piece of paper. It's called an insert. And the insert helps when you have common complaints about missing parts or assembly issues. So literally just a single piece of paper can cut returns for your product dramatically. So think about if you have a desk, if somebody's building a furniture, right? And one of the biggest issues that you see in people building furniture is people use power tools. People don't use the Allen key, it takes too long and it's handheld and you have to spin it so many times and it doesn't always fit, and it doesn't always, sometimes you have to take it back out, turn it halfway through, pull it out, put it back in, turn it halfway, and you can't even spin it all the way. People grab power tools and use a bit, 4 hex keys, and drill it in. But what they don't understand is if they over tighten that too much, then it'll actually damage the product. So that's something that people will write in the instruction manuals. They'll mention, hey, don't use power tools, so they could kind of, it's more of a cover your ass kind of thing. But what they don't realize is the customer, if they still see that defective product or they're having trouble assembling it, they're still going to return it either way. And you'll still have to pay all those fees. You can't take down that 1-star review, even if you're covered in a legal standpoint. So, what you want to do to better inform your customer, and this is a little trick that we learned too in the field, is when you have your insert sheet, put it, hopefully, you don't need too much messaging on the bottom of the paper. On the top of the paper, put a stop sign. Put a stop sign that covers over half of the page. Put it on there. Customer opens up the box. They see a piece of paper with a stop sign. They will read it. They see the instruction manual. They don't always read it. So use that insert, use that stop sign to identify anything that you really need the customer to know. If that's how to assemble it right, or if you have missing parts, don't return it and contact this number. Either way, have that piece of paper, have that insert so the customer knows exactly what to do when you have these common complaints. And the final solution I'll leave you with today is about poor communication with your supplier. So, all this is about, a lot of times when people have maybe a single issue with a supplier, they jump ship to another supplier and they say, oh, this next one's got to be better. But if you just stick with your one supplier and you communicate the issues that you're having, if you're saying, oh, this product is defective because of this, we're seeing a large amount of reviews that are stating this, you ordered some of the product and you're seeing this issue. How can this be fixed? Maybe a piece isn't threaded right. Maybe this is the wrong material. Whatever it is, use that information and send it back to your supplier so then they can fix something. These issues sometimes can be fixed with as little as another inspection. Maybe letting something, if you're already spraying a coating, we've discussed pencils beforehand on this channel. If you're spraying the coating to color the pencil yellow and they're not letting it dry for long enough, then they put it in the box and ship it, and all the paint becomes chipped. All they need to do is let it adhere for longer. There are some creative solutions you can have to discuss with your factory to review all of this data and create a better product that doesn't cost you more money. And that goes for all of these solutions. I've given you 3 so far, but there are plenty of creative solutions you could have for returns reduction projects. If you need any help with that, I'll put a school community link in the product in the description below. For $1 a month, I can help you with all of this stuff. And right now I'm really just looking for testimonials on how I can help your product. So right now it's only $1 a month. In the future, it'll be more, and I'll provide feedback every week on all this kind of stuff. But more info is in the description and in the actual school description. Link is down below. You could also see how I break down products looking at these 2 videos. One of them has to do with the quiet claim as well, and how customers misunderstood that issue.